Welcome to Chinese History and Mythology.
Hey friends, welcome back to Chinese History and Mythology. In the last episode, we talked about how the situation changed completely in a very short time. After Liu Bei was defeated and killed, Cao Cao took control of Yuzhou, and his power grew rapidly. Liu Bei was brought back to Xudu. Not only was he not suppressed, he was actually recognized by Emperor Xian of Han as a member of the imperial clan. The identity of imperial uncle Liu officially appeared. But the real turning point came during the hunting at Zutian. Cao Cao publicly used the emperor's bow to shoot a deer, stood in front of the emperor, and received the cheers of "Long live." It was, in effect, an open display of power over the emperor. Guan Yu immediately had the intent to kill him, but Liu Bei forced him to hold back. At the same time, undercurrents were moving inside the palace. Emperor Xian wrote a secret order in blood, hid it inside his belt, and secretly handed it to Dong Cheng. The secret decree in the belt had officially begun. Dong Cheng contacted Wang Zifu, Zhang Ji, and others, plotting to assassinate Cao Cao. Ma Teng, the governor of Ziliang, also joined and was willing to provide military support from the outside. Just when everyone thought the plan was taking shape, Ma Teng brought up a key figure. Why is this person not included in our plan? So the question is, who is this person? Will he become a crucial ally or the breaking point of the entire plan? In this episode, we continue the story. Dong Cheng and the others asked Ma Teng, "Who is this person you mentioned?" Ma Teng replied, "Liu Bei, the governor of Yuzhou, is now in Xudu. Why not bring him in?" Dong Cheng hesitated. Although Liu Bei is an imperial relative, he is now under Cao Cao. He may not be willing to take such a risk, Ma Teng said. At the hunting in Zutian, I saw with my own eyes that Guan Yu drew his blade to kill Cao Cao, and Liu Bei stopped him with just a look. Liu Bei does not lack the will to eliminate Cao Cao. He is only cautious because Cao Cao has too many supporters and his own strength is still weak. If we present the emperor's blood decree, he will agree. Everyone felt this made sense, but Wu Shuo reminded them, "We must not rush this. It has to be discussed carefully." Then they all dispersed. The next night, Dong Cheng carried the blood decree and quietly went to Liu Bei's residence. Liu Bei received him and invited him into a small tower for a private conversation, with Guan Yu and Zhang Fei standing by. Dong Cheng spoke directly. On the day of the hunting at Zutian, Guan Yu wanted to kill Cao Cao. "Why did you stop him with a look?" Liu Bei was shocked and asked how he knew. Dong Cheng said, "No one else saw it, but I did." Liu Bei had no choice but to explain. "My brother was angry because Cao Cao disrespected the emperor. It was just a moment of impulse." Dong Cheng covered his face and wept. If everyone in court were as loyal as Guan Yu, why would the realm be in such danger? Liu Bei still feared this might be a test sent by Cao Cao, so he deliberately said, "Prime Minister Cao Cao governs the state well. Why worry about unrest?" Dong Cheng's expression changed. "You are an imperial relative, and I speak to you sincerely. Why do you deceive me?" Only then did Liu Bei admit he had been testing him. Dong Cheng took out the blood decree hidden in the belt and showed it to him, then produced a written pledge already signed by 6 men, including himself, Wang Zifu, Zhang Ji, Wu Shuo, Wu Zilan, and Ma Teng. After reading it, Liu Bei was filled with grief and anger. "Since I have received the emperor's secret order to eliminate this traitor, how can I refuse to serve?" He then wrote his name, General of the Left, Liu Bei, and formally joined the alliance. Dong Cheng said, "We still need 3 more people to make 10 righteous men to remove the traitor." Liu Bei warned him, "This matter must proceed slowly and must never be exposed." The two talked until dawn before parting. From then on, Liu Bei became even more cautious. Fearing that Cao Cao might harm him, he began growing vegetables in his backyard, watering and tending them himself to hide his true intentions. Guan Yu and Zhang Fei did not understand and asked why he ignored important matters and did such simple work. Liu Bei only said, "It is not what you think," and they did not ask further. One day, when Guan Yu and Zhang Fei were not around, Liu Bei was watering vegetables. Su Chu and Zhang Liao suddenly arrived with soldiers, saying Cao Cao had invited him. Liu Bei was alarmed but had to go with them. When Cao Cao saw him, he laughed and said, "You have been busy at home." Liu Bei was terrified and turned pale. But Cao Cao simply took him by the hand into the garden and said, "Learning to grow vegetables is not easy." Only then did Liu Bei relax and say it was just a way to pass the time. Cao Cao then pointed to some green plums and recalled how, during a past campaign, He used the idea of plums to ease his soldiers' thirst. He invited Liu Bei to sit in a small pavilion to drink wine and enjoy the plums. As they drank, the sky grew dark and thunder rolled. Cao Cao pointed to the clouds and spoke about dragons, then suddenly asked Liu Bei, "You have traveled far and wide. Who do you think are the heroes of this age?" Liu Bei acted modestly and first mentioned Yuanshu of Wainan. Cao Cao laughed. "A corpse in a grave, not worth mentioning." Liu Bei then mentioned Yuan Shao. Cao Cao said he was strong on the outside but weak within, indecisive. Liu Bei mentioned Liu Biao. Cao Cao said he had an empty reputation. Liu Bei mentioned Sun Si. Cao Cao said he relied on his father's legacy. Liu Bei mentioned Liu Zhang. Cao Cao said he was just a guard dog. When Liu Bei mentioned Zhang Xiu, Zhang Lu, and Han Sui, Cao Cao laughed loudly and dismissed them all as mediocre. Finally, Liu Bei said he could think of no one else. Cao Cao then said, "A true hero must have great ambition, deep strategy, and the ability to contain the world within himself." Liu Bei asked, "Who can be called such a hero?" Cao Cao pointed at Liu Bei with one hand and at himself with the other. "Among the heroes of today, there are only you and me." Liu Bei was shocked, and his chopsticks fell from his hand. At that moment, thunder crashed loudly. Liu Bei calmly bent down to pick them up and said, "That thunder startled me." Cao Cao laughed. "A great man fears thunder?" Liu Bei replied, "Even sages are moved by thunder and wind. How could I not be?" He used the thunder to cover his reaction, and Cao Cao did not suspect anything. After the rain stopped, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei suddenly rushed into the garden, hands on their swords. They had heard Liu Bei was taken away and feared danger, so they came quickly. Cao Cao asked why they were there. Guan Yu said, "We heard you were drinking with our brother, so we came to perform a sword dance." Cao Cao laughed. "This is not the Hongmen banquet, no need for shangzhuang." He then ordered wine for them. After the banquet, Liu Bei returned home and told them what had happened. Only then did they understand that Liu Bei had been growing vegetables to make Cao Cao underestimate him, and they deeply admired his strategy. The next day, Cao Cao invited Liu Bei to drink again. During the banquet, Ma Teng reported that Yuan Shao had defeated Gong Sun Zan. Gong Sun Zan had fortified himself but lost the support of his men, and his plans were discovered. In the end, he killed his family and took his own life, and Yuan Shao absorbed his forces. Ma Teng also reported that Yuan Shu was living in luxury but losing support, and now planned to pass the imperial title to Yuan Shao and join him with the imperial seal. If the two brothers joined forces, the situation would become very dangerous. Liu Bei, hearing of Gong Sun Zan's death, felt sorrow and thought of past kindness, and also worried about Zhao Yun's whereabouts. He then thought to himself that this was the moment to escape, so Liu Bei suggested to Cao Cao, "Yuan Shu must pass through Xuzhou. Let me lead troops to intercept him." Cao Cao agreed. The next day, Liu Bei was given command of 50,000 troops, along with Zhu Ling and Lu Zhao. He said farewell to the emperor, who saw him off with tears. Liu Bei returned home, prepared his army overnight, and left in haste. Dong Cheng saw him off and whispered, "Be careful. Do not fail the emperor." Liu Bei replied, "Do not worry. I know what to do." On the road, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei asked why he was in such a hurry. Liu Bei said, "I am like a bird in a cage and a fish in a net. Now I am free, like a fish in the sea and a bird in the sky." When Guo Jia and Cheng Yu heard that Cao Cao had let Liu Bei leave, they tried to stop it. Cheng Yu said, "This is like releasing a dragon into the sea." Guo Jia agreed. Cao Cao realized the mistake and sent Su Qichu to bring Liu Bei back. But Liu Bei refused, saying he was acting under imperial orders. Su Qichu had no choice but to return. Cao Cao hesitated, but finally let it go. Liu Bei arrived in Xuzhou. After gathering information, he learned that Yuan Shu was weakened. He led troops to intercept him. Zhang Fei killed Ziling in less than 10 rounds. Yuan Shu's army collapsed. Liu Bei defeated him completely. Yuan Shu fled, starving and desperate. In the end, he died after coughing up blood. After Yuan Shu's death, the imperial seal eventually fell into Cao Cai's hands. Liu Bei secured Xuzhou and began restoring order. Meanwhile, Cao Cai secretly ordered Qizhou to eliminate Liu Bei, but Chen Deng warned Liu Bei in advance. That night, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei tricked Qizhou into leaving the city. Guan Yu killed him in battle and announced that the traitor was dead. The people of Xuzhou surrendered. When Liu Bei learned what had happened, he was deeply worried. "We have killed Cao Cao's trusted man. How can he let this go?" Guan Yu said they would face him. Liu Bei was still uneasy and entered Xuzhou. Chen Deng then said calmly, "There is no need to worry. I have a plan that can make Cao Cao withdraw, at least for now. Chen Deng offered Liu Bei a plan. The person Cao Cao fears most is Yuan Shao. Yuan Shao controls Jizhou, Qingzhou, Yuzhou, and Bingzhou. He has many soldiers and generals. Why don't you write to Yuan Shao and ask for help? Liu Bei hesitated. Yuan Shao and I have no close friendship. I also just defeated his younger brother Yuan Shu. Why would he help me? Chen Deng said. There is one man whose family has had friendship with the Yuan family for 3 generations. If he is willing to write a letter, Yuan Shao will surely be moved. Liu Bei immediately thought of someone. Do you mean Master Zhang Kangcheng? Chen Deng smiled. Exactly. Zheng Xuan, courtesy name Kangcheng, was a scholar of extremely high learning. He had studied under Ma Rong and deeply understood the essence of his teachings. Later, because of the chaos caused by the 10 eunuchs, he resigned and lived in seclusion in Xuzhou. When Liu Bei was still in Zhuo Commandery, he had already respected Zhang Xuan like a teacher. After becoming governor of Xuzhou, he often visited him for advice. Now Liu Bei and Chen Deng personally went to see Zhang Xuan and asked him to write a letter to Yuan Shao. Zhang Xuan generously agreed and gave the finished letter to Liu Bei. Liu Bei immediately sent Sun Tian to Yuan Shao overnight. After Yuan Shao read Zhang Xuan's letter, he thought, Liu Bei defeated my younger brother Yuan Shu, so I should not really save him. But since Minister Zhang has personally asked, I cannot treat this lightly. So he gathered his civil and military officials to discuss whether to send troops against Cao Cao. Tianfeng argued that they should first rest the army and build up supplies, and should not rush into war. Shenpei and Guo Tu believed Yuan Shao has strong soldiers and horses and should attack Cao Cao immediately. Zhu Shu also believed they should not fight without a proper reason. Everyone argued without agreement. At this moment, Xu Yu and Sun Chen entered, and both supported going to war. They said Yuan Shao would be using strength against weakness, punishing the traitor Cao Cao, and supporting the imperial house. This was perfectly righteous. After hearing this, Yuan Shao decided to send troops. Yuan Shao ordered Sun Qian to return and report to Zhang Xuan, and also arranged for Liu Bei to respond from his side. He then appointed Shenpei and Feng Ji to command the army, Tianfeng, Sun Chen, and Shu Yu as advisors, Yan Liang and Wen Chou as main generals, and mobilized 150,000 cavalry and 150,000 infantry, a total of 300,000 troops, to move into Liang. Guo Tu also suggested issuing a public declaration to condemn Cao Cao's crimes and call on all provinces and commanderies to join in attacking the traitor. Yuan Shao accepted the suggestion and ordered Chen Ling to draft the declaration. Chen Ling, courtesy name Kang Zhang, was famous for his literary talent. He wrote a powerful declaration against Cao Cao. In it, he denounced Cao Cao as the descendant of eunuchs, accused him of deceiving the emperor and seizing power, killing loyal ministers without permission, persecuting officials, digging up graves, harming the people, and using the emperor's name to command the warlords. He said, Cao Cao claimed to protect the emperor, but in truth, imprisoned him. The declaration also stated that Yuan Shao was raising righteous troops to punish the traitor, that the armies of 4 provinces were moving together, and that all commanderies should respond. Whoever could take Cao Cao's head would be granted a marquisate of 5,000 households and a reward of 50 million coins. Yuan Shao was delighted after reading it and ordered it spread across the realm, posted at passes, provinces, and commanderies. When the declaration reached Xudu, Cao Cao was lying in bed with a severe headache. After reading it, he was so shocked that his hair stood on end and cold sweat poured out. His headache suddenly disappeared, and he jumped out of bed asking, "Who wrote this?" Cao Hong replied, "I heard it was Chen Lin." Cao Cao laughed and said, "The writing is excellent, but it also needs matching military strategy. If Yuan Shao's military ability cannot keep up, then no matter how good the writing is, it is useless." He immediately gathered his advisors to discuss how to meet the enemy. Kang Rong believed Yuan Shao's power was too great to fight directly, and that they could only seek peace. Sun Yu said, Yuan Shao is not worth fearing. Kang Rong listed Su Yu, Guo Tu, Shenpei, Feng Ji, Tianfeng, Zhu Shou, Yan Liang, Wen Chou, and others, saying Yuan Shao had many advisors and fierce generals. Su Yu smiled and said, Yuan Shao has many soldiers, but he cannot command them as one. Tianfeng is upright but offends his superiors. Su Yu is greedy and lacks strategy. Shenpei is stubborn and not wise. Feng Ji is decisive but cannot achieve great things. These men do not get along and will surely create internal conflict. Yang Liang and Wen Chou are only brave fighters. They can be captured in a single battle. Cao Cao laughed loudly and agreed completely. Cao Cao decided to personally lead 200,000 troops to Liang to confront Yuan Shao. At the same time, he sent Liu Bei and Wang Jiang with 50,000 troops carrying Cao Cao's banners to Xuzhou to restrain Liu Bei. Cheng Yu worried that Liu Bei and Wang Jiang were no match for Liu Bei. Cao Cao said, "I know they may not win. They are only there to create pressure and hold Liu Bei in place. I will defeat Yuan Shao first, then come back to deal with Liu Bei." He ordered the two not to act recklessly and sent them off. Cao Cao led his army to Liang. He and Yuan Shao's army were 80 li apart. Both sides dug deep trenches, built strong defenses, and remained locked in a standoff. From August to October, Yuan Shao could not launch an attack because his advisors kept disagreeing with one another. Cao Cao then arranged for Zhang Ba to guard Qingzhou and Xuzhou, Yu Zhen and Li Dian to station troops along the Yellow River, and Cao Ren to defend Guangdu while he temporarily returned to Xudu. Liu Dai and Wang Zhong camped about 100 li from Xuzhou. Although they displayed the banners of Prime Minister Cao Cao, they did not dare attack first. Liu Bei also did not know whether Cao Cao himself was present, so he did not dare move rashly. Later, Cao Cao sent someone to urge Liu Dai and Wen Zhong to attack. The two pushed the responsibility back and forth, and finally drew lots to decide. Wang Zhong drew the first turn and had no choice but to lead half the army to attack Xuzhou. When Liu Bei learned that Cao Cao's army was coming, he discussed it with Chen Deng. Chen Deng judged, Cao Cao must be supervising the war in the north. This is only a show of force. Cao Cao himself is not here. Liu Bei asked who was willing to investigate. Zhang Fei volunteered, but Liu Bei thought he was too impatient. Guan Yu asked to go, and Liu Bei trusted him, allowing him to lead 3,000 troops out of the city. It was early winter, with fierce wind and snow. Guan Yu challenged the enemy before the lines. Wang Zhong came out and claimed that Prime Minister Cao Cao was there. Guan Yu asked to see Cao Cao, but Wang Zhong said the Prime Minister would not easily meet him. Guan Yu became furious and charged forward to fight Wang Zhong, then pretended to retreat. Wang Zhong chased him over a slope. Guan Yu suddenly turned his horse back, gave a great shout, captured Wang Zhong from his horse, threw him across his own saddle, and brought him back to Xuzhou. Wang Zhong's troops scattered and fled. Liu Bei questioned Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong had no choice but to admit, the Prime Minister is not here. He only ordered us to make a show of force and confuse the enemy. Liu Bei ordered that Wang Zhong be given food and clothing and temporarily imprisoned. Guan Yu said, "I knew you wanted to leave room for peace, so I captured him alive." Liu Bei nodded. "Killing him brings no benefit. Keeping him may help us negotiate." Seeing that Guan Yu had captured Wang Zhong, Zhang Fei asked to go capture Liu Dai. Liu Bei worried that his temper would lead him to kill the man. Zhang Fei promised that if he killed him, he would pay with his own life. Liu Bei had no choice but to give him 3,000 troops. Liu Dai heard that Wang Zhong had been captured and refused to leave his camp. Zhang Fei cursed him for days with no result, so he pretended to get drunk, deliberately whipped a soldier, and said he would sacrifice him to the banner during a night raid. Then he secretly allowed the soldier to escape. The soldier ran to Liu Dai's camp and reported that Zhang Fei would raid the camp that night. Liu Dai believed him and set up an ambush, ready to strike back. At the third watch that night, Zhang Fei divided his troops into 3 groups. A small central force entered the camp and set fires. The left and right groups circled behind to attack from the rear, while Zhang Fei first cut off Liu Dai's retreat. Once the fire started, Liu Dai's ambushed troops began to move, but Zhang Fei's 2 groups attacked at the same time. Liu Dai's army fell into chaos. Not knowing how many enemies there were, they scattered and fled. Liu Dai escaped with a few remaining troops, but ran straight into Zhang Fei. After only one exchange, he was captured alive, and the rest of his men surrendered. When Liu Bei heard that Zhang Fei had used a plan to capture Liu Dai, he smiled at Guan Yu and said, "Yi Dai has always been impatient, but now he can use strategy too. I can worry a little less from now on." Then he personally went out of the city to welcome him. Zhang Fei proudly asked, "Brother, what do you think of me now?" Liu Bei smiled and said, "If I had not provoked you a little, would you have been willing to use a plan?" When Liu Bei saw Liu Dai tied up, he immediately dismounted and untied him himself, apologizing. "My younger brother Zhang Fei offended you. Please forgive him." He then welcomed Liu Dai into Xuzhou, released Wang Zhong, and treated both of them well. Liu Bei explained, Yuzhou plotted to murder me, so I had no choice but to kill him. The Prime Minister misunderstood and thought I had rebelled, which is why he sent you here. I have received great kindness from the Prime Minister. How would I dare rebel? I hope you will explain this for me when you return to Xudu. Liu Bei and Wang Zhong were grateful that he had spared their lives and promised to speak for him. The next day, Liu Bei returned the soldiers and horses and escorted the two men out of the city. Not long after they left, Zhang Fei suddenly blocked the road and shouted, "My brother is too foolish. How can we capture enemy generals and then let them go?" Liu Bei and Wang Zhong trembled with fear. Zhang Fei charged forward with his spear, but Guan Yu arrived from behind and stopped him. Guan Yu said, "Since our brother has already released them, how can you disobey his order?" Zhang Fei sneered and said, "I will spare you today. If you come again, I will not be so gentle." Liu Bei and Wang Zhong quickly swore they would never invade again and fled back to Xudu in panic. After Guan Yu and Zhang Fei returned to the city, both believed Cao Cao would surely come again. Sun Qian suggested, "Xuzhou is surrounded by enemies on all sides. We should not concentrate all our forces in one place. It would be better to divide our troops and support each other like horns." Liu Bei accepted the plan. He ordered Guan Yu to guard Xiapi and placed Lady Gin and Lady Mi there. Zhang Qian, Jian Yong, Mi Zhu, and Mi Fang defended Xuzhou. Liu Bei and Zhang Fei stayed at Xiapi to guard against Cao Cao. When Liu Dai and Wang Zheng returned to Xudu, they reported to Cao Cao that Liu Bei had no intention of rebellion. Cao Cao became furious and cursed, "You have disgraced the state. What use are you?" He immediately ordered them to be taken out and executed. Cheng offered Liu Bei a plan. The person Cao Cao fears most is Yuan Shao. Yuan Shao controls Jizhou, Qingzhou, Yuzhou, and Bingzhou. He has many soldiers and generals. Why don't you write to Yuan Shao and ask for help? Liu Bei hesitated. Yuan Shao and I have no close friendship. I also just defeated his younger brother Yuan Shu. Why would he help me? Chen Deng said. There is one man whose family has had friendship with the Yuan family for 3 generations. If he is willing to write a letter, Yuan Shao will surely be moved. Liu Bei immediately thought of someone. Do you mean Master Zheng Kangcheng? Chen Deng smiled. Exactly. Zheng Xuan, courtesy name Kangcheng, was a scholar of extremely high learning. He had studied under Ma Rong and deeply understood the essence of his teachings. Later, because of the chaos caused by the 10 eunuchs, he resigned and lived in seclusion in Xuzhou. When Liu Bei was still in Zhuo Commandery, he had already respected Zheng Xuan like a teacher. After becoming governor of Xuzhou, he often visited him for advice. Now Liu Bei and Chen Deng personally went to see Zheng Xuan and asked him to write a letter to Yuan Shao. Zheng Xuan generously agreed and gave the finished letter to Yuan Shao overnight. After Yuan Shao read Zheng Xuan's letter, he thought, Liu Bei defeated my younger brother Yuan Shu, so I should not really save him. But since Minister Jiang has personally asked, I cannot treat this lightly. So he gathered his civil and military officials to discuss whether to send troops against Cao Cao. Tian Feng argued that they should first rest the army and build up supplies and should not rush into war. Shen Pei and Guo Tu believed Yuan Shao had strong soldiers and horses and should attack Cao Cao immediately. Yuzhou also believed they should not fight without a proper reason. Everyone argued without agreement. At this moment, Siyu and Sun Chen entered, and both supported going to war. They said Yuan Shao would be using strength against weakness, punishing the traitor Cao Cao, and supporting the imperial house. This was perfectly righteous. After hearing this, Yuan Shao decided to send troops. Yuan Shao ordered Zheng Qian to return and report to Zheng Xuan, and also arranged for Liu Bei to respond from his side. He then appointed Shen Pei and Feng Ji to command the army, Tian Feng, Sun Qian, and Xu Yu as advisors, Yan Liang and Wen Qiu as main generals, and mobilized 150,000 cavalry and 150,000 infantry, a total of 300,000 troops, to move into Liang. Guo Tu also suggested issuing a public declaration to condemn Cao Cao's crimes and call on all provinces and commanderies to join in attacking the traitor. Yuan Shao accepted the suggestion and ordered Chen Lin to draft the declaration. Chen Lin, courtesy name Kong Zhang, was famous for his literary talent. He wrote a powerful declaration against Cao Cao. In it, he denounced Cao Cao as the descendant of eunuchs, accused him of deceiving the emperor and seizing power, killing loyal ministers without permission, persecuting officials, digging up graves, harming the people, and using the emperor's name to command the warlords. He said Cao Cao claimed to protect the emperor, but in truth imprisoned him. The declaration also stated that Yuan Shao was raising righteous troops to punish the traitor, that the armies of 4 provinces were moving together, and that all commanderies should respond. Whoever could take Cao Cao's head would be granted a marquisate of 5,000 households and a reward of 50 million coins. Yuan Shao was delighted after reading it, and ordered it spread across the realm, posted at passes, provinces, and commanderies. When the declaration reached Xudu, Cao Cao was lying in bed with a severe headache. After reading it, he was so shocked that his hair stood on end and cold sweat poured out. His headache suddenly disappeared, and he jumped out of bed, asking, "Who wrote this?" Cao Hong replied, "I heard it was Chen Lin." Cao Cao laughed and said, "The writing is excellent, but it also needs matching military strategy. If Yuan Shao's military ability cannot keep up, then no matter how good the writing is, it is useless." He immediately gathered his advisors to discuss how to meet the enemy. Kong Rong believed Yuan Shao's power was too great to fight directly and that they could only seek peace. Xiong Yu said Yuan Shao is not worth fearing. Kong Rong listed Xiu Yu, Guo Tu, Shen Pei, Feng Ji, Tian Feng, Zhu Shou, Yan Liang, Wen Chou, and others, saying Yuan Shao had many advisors and fierce generals. Zhong Yu smiled and said, "Yuan Shao has many soldiers, but he cannot command them as one. Tian Feng is upright but offends his superiors. Xu Yu is greedy and lacks strategy. Shen Pei is stubborn and not wise. Feng Ji is decisive but cannot achieve great things. These men do not get along and will surely create internal conflict. Yan Liang and Wen Chou are only brave fighters. They can be captured in a single battle." Cao Cao laughed loudly and agreed completely. Cao Cao decided to personally lead 200,000 troops to Luoyang to confront Yuan Shao. At the same time, he sent Liu Dai and Wang Zhang with 50,000 troops, carrying Cao Cao's banners, to Xuzhou to restrain Liu Bei. Cheng Yu worried that Liu Dai and Wang Zhang were no match for Liu Bei. Cao Cao said, "I know they may not win. They are only there to create pressure and hold Liu Bei in place. I will defeat Yuan Shao first, then come back to deal with Liu Bei." He ordered the two not to act recklessly and sent them off. Cao Cao led his army to Liyang. He and Yuan Shao's army were 80 li apart. Both sides dug deep trenches, built strong defenses, and remained locked in a standoff. From August to October, Yuan Shao could not launch an attack because his advisors kept disagreeing with one another. Cao Cao then arranged for Zhang Ba to guard Qingzhou and Xuzhou, Yu Jing and Li Dian to station troops along the Yellow River, and Cao Ren to defend Guandu, while he temporarily returned to Xudu. Liu Dai and Wang Zhong camped about 100 li from Xuzhou. Although they displayed the banners of Prime Minister Cao Cao, they did not dare attack first. Liu Bei also did not know whether Cao Cao himself was present, so he did not dare move rashly. Later, Cao Cao sent someone to urge Liu Dai and Wang Zhong to attack. The two pushed the responsibility back and forth and finally drew lots to decide. Wang Zhong drew the first turn and had no choice but to lead half the army to attack Xuzhou. When Liu Bei learned that Cao Cao's army was coming, he discussed it with Chen Deng. Chen Deng judged, "Cao Cao must be supervising the war in the north. This is only a show of force. Cao Cao himself is not here." Liu Bei asked who was willing to investigate. Zhang Fei volunteered, but Liu Bei thought he was too impatient. Guan Yu asked to go, and Liu Bei trusted him, allowing him to lead 3,000 troops out of the city. It was early winter, with fierce wind and snow. Guan Yu challenged the enemy before the lines. Wang Zhong came out and claimed that Prime Minister Cao Cao was there. Guan Yu asked to see Cao Cao, but Wang Zhong said the Prime Minister would not easily meet him. Guan Yu became furious and charged forward to fight Wang Zhong, then pretended to retreat. Wang Zhong chased him over a slope. Guan Yu suddenly turned his horse back, gave a great shout, captured Wang Zhong from his horse, threw him across his own saddle, and brought him back to Xuzhou. Wang Zhong's troops scattered and fled. Liu Bei questioned Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong had no choice but to admit, "The Prime Minister is not here. He only ordered us to make a show of force and confuse the enemy." Liu Bei ordered that Wang Zhong be given food and clothing and temporarily imprisoned. Guan Yu said, "I knew you wanted to leave room for peace, so I captured him alive." Liu Bei nodded. "Killing him brings no benefit. Keeping him may help us negotiate." Seeing that Guan Yu had captured Wang Zheng, Zhang Fei asked to go capture Liu Bei. Liu Bei worried that his temper would lead him to kill the man. Zhang Fei promised that if he killed him, he would pay with his own life. Liu Bei had no choice but to give him 3,000 troops. Liu Bei heard that Wang Zheng had been captured and refused to leave his camp. Zhang Fei cursed him for days with no result, so he pretended to get drunk, deliberately whipped a soldier, and said he would sacrifice him to the banner during a night raid. Then he secretly allowed the soldier to escape. The soldier ran to Liu Dai's camp and reported that Zhang Fei would raid the camp that night. Liu Dai believed him and set up an ambush, ready to strike back. At the third watch that night, Zhang Fei divided his troops into 3 groups. A small central force entered the camp and set fires. The left and right groups circled behind to attack from the rear, while Zhang Fei first cut off Liu Dai's retreat. Once the fire started, Liu Dai's ambushed troops began to move, but Zhang Fei's 2 groups attacked at the same time. Liu Dai's army fell into chaos. Not knowing how many enemies there were, they scattered and fled. Liu Dai escaped with a few remaining troops, but ran straight into Zhang Fei. After only one exchange, he was captured alive and the rest of his men surrendered. When Liu Bei heard that Zhang Fei had used a plan to capture Liu Dai, he smiled at Guan Yu and said, "Yi Dai has always been impatient, but now he can use strategy too. I can worry a little less from now on." Then he personally went out of the city to welcome him. Zhang Fei proudly asked, "Brother, what do you think of me now?" Liu Bei smiled and said, "If I had not provoked you a little, would you have been willing to use a plan?" When Liu Bei saw Liu Dai tied up, he immediately dismounted and untied him himself, apologizing. "My younger brother Zhang Fei offended you. Please forgive him." He then welcomed Liu Dai into Xudu, released Wang Zheng, and treated both of them well. Liu Bei explained, "Cao Cao plotted to murder me, so I had no choice but to kill him. The Prime Minister misunderstood and thought I had rebelled, which is why he sent you here. I have received great kindness from the Prime Minister. How would I dare rebel? I hope you will explain this for me when you return to Xudu." Liu Dai and Wang Zheng were grateful that he had spared their lives and promised to speak for him. The next day, Liu Bei returned the soldiers and horses and escorted the 2 men out of the city. Not long after they left, Zhang Fei suddenly blocked the road and shouted, "My brother is too foolish. How can we capture enemy generals and then let them go?" Liu Dai and Wang Zheng trembled with fear. Zhang Fei charged forward with his spear, but Guan Yu arrived from behind and stopped him. Guan Yu said, "Since our brother has already released them, how can you disobey his order?" Zhang Fei sneered and said, "I will spare you today. If you come again, I will not be so gentle." Liu Dai and Wang Zheng quickly swore they would never invade again, and fled back to Xudu in panic. After Guan Yu and Zhang Fei returned to the city, both believed Cao Cao would surely come again. Sun Qian suggested, "Xuzhou is surrounded by enemies on all sides. We should not concentrate all our forces in one place. It would be better to divide our troops and support each other like horns." Liu Bei accepted the plan. He ordered Guan Yu to guard Xiapi and placed Lady Gan and Lady Mi there. Sun Qian, Jian Yong, Mi Zhu, and Mi Fang defended Xuzhou. Liu Bei and Zhang Fei stayed at Xiaopei to guard against Cao Cao. When Liu Dai and Wang Zheng returned to Xudu, they reported to Cao Cao that Liu Bei had no intention of rebellion. Cao Cao became furious and cursed. "You have disgraced the state. What use are you?" He immediately ordered them to be taken out and executed. After Cao Cao saw the secret decree hidden in the belt, he gathered his advisors to discuss the matter. He planned to depose Emperor Shan of Han and establish another virtuous man as ruler. Cheng Yu advised him, "The reason you can awe the 4 directions and command the realm is that you act under the name of the Han house. Now the warlords have not yet been pacified. If you rush to depose and replace the emperor, it will surely trigger rebellion across the realm." Cao Cao accepted Cheng Yu's advice and temporarily put aside the matter of replacing the emperor. After that, Cao Cao had Dong Cheng, Wang Zifu, Wu Zilan, Zhang Ji, Wu Shou, and their families taken to different city gates and executed in public. More than 700 people were killed. When the officials and people in the city saw this terrible scene, none could hold back tears. But Cao Cao's anger had not yet faded. He took his sword and entered the palace, preparing to kill Consort Dong. Consort Dong was Dong Cheng's younger sister and was deeply loved by Emperor Shan. At this time, she was already 5 months pregnant. Emperor Shan was in the rear palace with Empress Fu, worrying about Dong Cheng's matter, when Cao Cao suddenly entered with a sword in his hand, furious. The emperor was greatly shocked. Cao Cao asked, "Did your majesty know about Dong Cheng's rebellion?" The emperor answered in fear, Dong Zhu has already been executed. Cao Cao said harshly, not Dong Zhuo, Dong Cheng. The emperor only said he did not know. Cao Cao then asked, has your majesty forgotten biting your finger and writing the decree in blood? The emperor had nothing to say. Cao Cao ordered the warriors to seize consort Dong. Emperor Shan pleaded bitterly, she is 5 months pregnant, please show mercy. Empress Fu also begged, you can first demote her to the cold palace and wait until she gives birth before deciding her punishment. Cao Cao sneered, do you want to leave behind the child of a traitor so that one day he can avenge his mother? Consort Dong cried and begged to keep her body whole. Cao Cao then ordered white silk to be brought and had her dragged out of the palace gate and strangled. Emperor Xian cried, when you reach the world below, do not blame me. Empress Fu also wept uncontrollably, but Cao Cao scolded them for being trapped by personal emotion and showed no sympathy. From then on, Cao Cao ordered strict control of the palace gates. Any imperial relatives who entered the palace without his order would be executed. Guards who failed to watch carefully would also be punished along with them. He also transferred 3,000 trusted men to form the Imperial Guard, placed under Cao Hong's command, to monitor the palace. After Dong Cheng's faction was removed, Cao Cao still felt uneasy. He said to Cheng Yu, Ma Teng and Liu Bei were also part of the secret decree conspiracy. They cannot be left alone. Cheng Yu suggested first calming Ma Teng, luring him into the capital, and then making plans against him. As for Liu Bei, he had already divided his forces in Yuzhou and arranged them to support one another. But Yuan Shao was at Guandu. If Cao Cao marched east, Liu Bei would certainly ask Yuan Shao for help, and Yuan Shao might also take the chance to attack Xudu. Cao Cao, however, believed that Liu Bei was a true talent and had to be struck early. Once his wings were fully grown, he would be much harder to deal with. As for Yuan Shao, although he was powerful, he was hesitant and indecisive, so Cao Cao did not consider him a serious concern. At this moment, Guo Jia entered. Cao Cao asked him whether he could march east against Liu Bei. Guo Jia said, Yuan Shao is hesitant and suspicious, and his advisors are jealous of one another. He is not worth worrying about. Liu Bei has only just reorganized his troops, and his people are not yet fully settled. If you personally lead the army, one battle can decide it. Cao Cao was delighted and decided to mobilize 200,000 troops divided into 5 routes to attack Xudu. When the news reached Yuzhou, Sun Qian first went to Xiapi to inform Guan Yu, then hurried to Xiaopei to report to Liu Bei. Liu Bei discussed the matter with Sun Qian and believed that only by asking Yuan Shao for help could they possibly resolve the crisis. So he wrote a letter and sent Sun Qian to Hebei. Sun Qian first met Tianfeng, explained that Cao Cao was about to march east against Liu Bei, and asked him for an introduction to Yuan Shao. Tianfeng then brought Sun Qian to see Yuan Shao. When Sun Qian saw Yuan Shao, he noticed that Yuan Shao's face was pale, and his clothes and cap were in disorder. Tianfeng asked him why he looked this way. Yuan Shao sighed and said, I am almost dying from worry. I have 5 sons, and my youngest, the one I love most, now has a serious skin disease. His life is in danger. How can I have the mind to handle anything else? Tianfeng urgently advised him, Cao Cao is now marching east against Liu Bei, and Xuchang is empty. This is a once-in-a-thousand-years opportunity. If you send troops now, you can protect the emperor above and save the people below. Please decide at once. But Yuan Shao was worried about his young son's illness. He only said his mind was confused and in the end refused to send troops. He told Sun Qian to go back and tell Liu Bei that if things did not go well, Liu Bei could come and join him. Tianfeng was so angry that he struck the ground with his staff and sighed. Such a great opportunity has been delayed because of a child's illness. The great cause cannot succeed now. Seeing that Yuan Shao would not send troops, Sun Qian had no choice but to rush back to Xiaopei overnight and tell Liu Bei what had happened. Liu Bei was shocked and asked what they should do. Zhang Fei proposed a plan. Cao Cao has come from far away, so his troops must be tired. We can strike his camp as soon as he arrives. Perhaps we can defeat him. Liu Bei nodded after hearing this. In the past, I only knew you had courage. Now I see you can also use strategy. This plan fits military principles. So he decided to divide the troops and attack Cao Cao's camp at night. Cao Cao led his army toward Xiaopei. On the way, a violent wind suddenly rose. With a loud crack, one of the commander's banners was blown down. Cao Cao ordered the army to stop and summoned his advisors to ask whether this was good or bad fortune. Sun Yu asked, From which direction did the wind come? Which banner was broken? Cao Cao answered, A southeast wind, and it broke the blue-red commander's banner. Sun Yu judged, Liu Bei will surely come to raid the camp tonight. Just as Cao Cao nodded, Mao Ji also came in to report the same judgment. In my view, someone will certainly come to raid the camp tonight. Cao Cao was now prepared and secretly arranged defenses against Liu Bei's night attack.
Cheng Yu offered Cao Cao a plan.
Guan Yuncheng is brave beyond compare. It will be hard to defeat him in a direct fight. We must use strategy. We can send surrendered soldiers from Liu Bei's old forces into Xiapi and have them pretend they have escaped back. They will secretly act as our inside agents. Then we send Sha Hodong to challenge him, pretend to lose, lure Guan Yu away from the city, and cut off his path back. Only then can we capture him. Cao Cao followed the plan and sent dozens of surrendered Yuzhou soldiers to Xiapi. Guan Yu believed they were old troops and did not suspect them, so he allowed them to stay in the city. The next day, Xiahou Dun led troops to challenge him. At first, Guan Yu did not come out. Xiahou Dun sent men to insult him below the city walls. Guan Yu was furious and led 3,000 men out to fight. The two fought for more than 10 rounds, and then Xiahou Dun pretended to lose and fled. Guan Yu chased him for 20 li, but then grew worried that Xiapi might be in danger and turned back. Suddenly, a cannon signal sounded. Xu Huang attacked from the left, Xu Sichu attacked from the right, and crossbows fired together, with arrows flying like locusts. Guan Yu could not break back into the city and had to retreat onto an earthen hill. Cao Cao as an army immediately surrounded the hill. Guan Yu looked towards Xiapi and saw flames rising inside the city. The false surrender soldiers had already opened the gates, and Cao Cao personally led his army into the city. He also ordered fires to be set to confuse Guan Yu. Guan Yu tried several times to break through at night, but each time he was driven back by arrows. At dawn, Zhang Liao went up the hill to see Guan Yu. Guan Yu asked, "Wen Yuan, have you come to persuade me to surrender?" Zhang Liao said, "No. Because of our old friendship, I came to tell you this. Liu Xudui and Zhang Yidi's whereabouts are unknown, but Cao Cao has entered Xiapi. The people are unharmed, and the two ladies have been properly protected." Guan Yu heard the meaning behind his words and became angry. "Though I am trapped, I am ready to die," Zhang Liao said. "If you die now, you will commit 3 wrongs. First, you will break the oath you made with Liu Bei to live and die together. Second, you will fail the duty Liu Bei entrusted to you, which is to protect his family. Third, you have great ability, but instead of saving it to one day support the Han, you would only be showing the courage of one reckless man." Guan Yu remained silent for a long time, then asked what he should do. Zhang Liao advised him to surrender to Cao Cao for the moment, protect the 2 ladies, and wait for news of Liu Bei. Guan Yu set 3 conditions. First, I surrender to the Han, not to Cao Cao. Second, the 2 sisters-in-law will still receive Liu Huangshu's salary, and Cao Cao must not violate or disturb the family. Third, once I learn where Liu Huangshu is, no matter whether it is 1,000 li or 10,000 li away, I will leave at once. Zhang Liao reported this to Cao Cao. At first, Cao Cao did not want to accept the 3rd condition. Zhang Liao advised him, if you treat Yuncheng generously, he will naturally be grateful. Cao Cao finally accepted all 3 terms and withdrew his troops 30 li. Zun Yu feared there might be deception, but Cao Cao said, "Yuncheng is a man of honor. He will never break his word." Guan Yu returned to Xiapi to see Lady Gan and Lady Mi and told them the 3 conditions. After hearing them, the 2 ladies said, "Since you have already received Cao Cao's promise, you may act according to righteousness." Guan Yu then led a few dozen riders to meet Cao Cao. Cao Cao personally welcomed him and treated him as an honored guest. Guan Yu again made it clear, "If I learn where Liu Huangshu is, I will leave. If there is no time to say farewell, I hope you will forgive me." Cao Cao agreed and said he would continue searching for news of Liu Bei. After returning to Suchang, Cao Cao introduced Guan Yu to Emperor Xian of Han, and the emperor appointed Guan Yu as a deputy general. Cao Cao treated Guan Yu with extreme generosity, holding small banquets every 3 days and great banquets every 5 days. He also gave him gold, silver, fine silk, brocade, and 10 beautiful women. Guan Yu handed all the gold, silver, and valuables to the 2 sisters-in-law for safekeeping, and also sent the women into the inner quarters to serve the 2 ladies. He himself lived in the outer courtyard. Every 3 days, he would only stand outside the inner gate to ask after them, observing strict propriety. When Cao Cao heard this, he respected him even more. Seeing that Guan Yu's robe was old, Cao Cao specially gave him a new one. Guan Yu wore the new robe underneath, but still placed the old robe over it. Cao Cao asked why he was so frugal. Guan Yu answered, "The old robe was given to me by Liu Huangshu. Wearing it is like seeing my elder brother. I dare not forget old loyalty because of new kindness." Cao Cao praised him aloud, but inwardly he was displeased. Later, Cao Cao also gave Guan Yu a silk brocade pouch to protect his beard. When Emperor Xian saw his long beard flowing beautifully, he praised him, saying, "Truly a beautiful bearded lord." From then on, people called Guan Yu the beautiful bearded lord. Another day, Cao Cao saw that Guan Yu's horse was thin and weak, so he gave him Liu Bu's former horse, Red Hair. Guan Yu was overjoyed and bowed in thanks. Cao Cao asked, "When I gave you gold, silver, and women, you never thanked me like this. Today I give you a horse, and you are so happy. Why?" Guan Yu answered, "This horse can travel 1,000 li in a day. If I learn where my elder brother is, I can go to him in a single day." Cao Cao was shocked and secretly regretted giving him the horse. Cao Cao asked Zhang Liao, "I've treated Yunchang very well. Why does he still intend to leave?" Zhang Liao went to test him. Guan Yu spoke honestly. "Duke Cao treats me with great kindness, and I know it well. But I received deep kindness from Lu Huangshu and swore to live and die with him. I cannot betray him. One day I will first perform a deed to repay Duke Cao, and then I will leave." Zhang Liao asked, "What if Liu Bei is already dead?" Guan Yu replied, "Then I am willing to follow him beneath the earth." Zhang Liao reported this to Cao Cao. Cao Cao sighed and said, "Loyal, yet never forgetting his origin. He is truly a righteous man under heaven." Sun Yu reminded him. He said he will leave only after achieving merit. If you never give him a chance to earn merit, he may not be able to leave. Cao Cao deeply agreed. Meanwhile, Liu Bei was at Yuan Shao's camp, worrying about Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, and his family. Yuan Shao planned to attack Xudu once spring arrived. Tian Feng advised him to defend and wait for the right moment, but Liu Bei said, "Cao Cao deceives the emperor and insults those above him. If he is not attacked, the great cause of justice under heaven will be lost." Yuan Shao listened to Liu Bei and decided to send troops. Tian Feng tried repeatedly to stop him, but Yuan Shao had him imprisoned instead. Yuan Shao then sent Yan Liang as the vanguard to attack Beima. When Cao Cao heard that Beima was in danger, he led troops to meet the enemy. Yan Liang was extremely brave. He first killed Song Xian, then killed Wei Shu. Even Xu Huang fought him for 20 rounds and was forced to retreat. Cao Cao's generals were all shaken. Cheng Yu suggested, "The only one who can match Yan Liang is Guan Yunchang." Cao Cao worried that Guan Yu would leave after achieving merit. Pang Yu said, "If Guan Yu kills one of Yuan Shao's great generals, Yuan Shao will surely suspect Liu Bei. If Liu Bei dies, Guan Yu will have nowhere to return." Cao Cao was delighted and sent someone to invite Guan Yu to battle. Before leaving, Guan Yu first said farewell to the two sisters-in-law. The two ladies told him to also look for news of Liu Bei. After Guan Yu arrived at Baima, he climbed an earthen hill with Cao Cao to observe the battlefield. Cao Cao pointed at Yan Liang and said, "This man has killed 2 of my generals. He must not be underestimated." Guan Yu looked at him from a distance for a moment and said, "Yan Liang is nothing but a marked head for sale." Before Cao Cao could respond, Guan Yu had already lifted his green dragon blade and charged down the hill on Red Hair. The ranks of the Hebei army split like waves. Yan Liang had just begun to ask who he was when Guan Yu had already rushed before him and cut him down with one strike. Guan Yu took his head, tied it to his saddle, and charged back to Cao Cao's formation as if moving through empty ground. Cao Cao's army took the chance to attack, and the Hebei troops suffered a great defeat. Guan Yu presented Yan Liang's head. Cao Cao praised him, saying, "General, you are truly godlike." Guan Yu replied, "This is nothing. My brother Zhang Yidai can take the head of an enemy general in the middle of 1,000,000 soldiers as easily as reaching into a bag." Cao Cao was shocked and ordered someone to write it down. If they ever met Zhang Yidai, they must not underestimate him. The defeated soldiers fled back to Yuan Shao and reported, "A red-faced, long-bearded warrior holding a great blade charged into the formation alone and killed Yan Liang." Yuan Shao was shocked. Yuzhou said, "This must be Liu Xuandei's brother, Guan Yongchang." Yuan Shao flew into a rage, pointed at Liu Bei, and said, "Your brother killed my beloved general. You must have plotted this together." He immediately ordered the executioners to take Liu Bei out and behead him. With one order from Yuan Shao, the executioners stepped forward at once, seized Liu Bei, and were about to drag him out of the tent. Liu Bei was already living under another man's roof in Yuan Shao's camp. Now, because Guan Yu had killed Yan Liang, he was suddenly treated as a conspirator in Yuan Shao's eyes. But the problem was, Guan Yu was at this moment in Cao Cao's army, and Liu Bei had no idea what his real situation was. On one side stood Yuan Shao, who had just lost a top general and was burning with rage. On the other side stood Liu Xuande, unable to defend himself, with his life hanging by a thread. So, can Liu Bei escape this disaster? How will he explain Guan Yu killing Yang Liang? And far away in Cao Cao's camp, can Guan Yu find out that Liu Bei is still alive? In the next episode, we continue the story, how Liu Bei escapes danger in Yuan Shao's camp, and after slaying Yang Liang, how Guan Yu will face the choice between loyalty to Cao Cao and loyalty to his former lord.
Alright, that is everything for today. Thank you for listening to Chinese history and mythology. If you enjoy my show, please follow, like, and share it with the people around you. You are also very welcome to leave a comment on my blog and share topics you are interested in at bonniespodcasthandbook.blogspot.com. I am really looking forward to hearing from you. Alright, that is all for today's Chinese history and mythology. See you next episode.
Sky in light, Nua heal the broken heart. Fuxi trace the world's design. Every age leaves stories bright. Yaya dynasty shape bronze. Shang dynasty cast oracle. Qin dynasty forged the great walls. Han dynasty opened Silk Road winds. Three Kingdoms dynasty turned war to tales. Cheng dynasty led ink and mountains bloom. Sui dynasty carved the Grand Canal. Dynasty raised learning's flame. Yuan dynasty swept the northern plains. Ming dynasty strengthened walls again. Qing dynasty closed an ancient end. Leave stories bright. History and myth ignite in endless light. China's history moves in mystery through the night. Footsteps of this land enchant the world in light. Kingdoms dynasty turn war to tales. Qin dynasty led ink and mountains bloom. Sui dynasty carved the Grand Canal. Tang dynasty crowned the world with art. Song dynasty raised learning's flame.